What is a masterpiece?
I think it sounds better than it's ever sounded.
Let's maybe go way, way, way back in time.
We're going to be rich. I thought that was it.
What happened? What they threw into the river?
It's always been their best album as far as I'm concerned.
Hi, I'm Jason Jones from Rhino Records, here today to talk to you about another amazing archival release from the fantastic band The Replacements. And I could not think of a better person to talk about such a project with than my partner in crime on this one, the legendary Mr. Peter Jesperson. Let's talk about, how did you get involved with this collective of Minneapolis boys known as The Replacements?
Well, I guess it started when the singer Paul Westerberg, who I hadn't met before, brought a cassette into the record store that I managed in Minneapolis, and I listened to it and I loved it, and I actually called him back after realizing how great I thought it was, and asked him what his intentions were. Was he thinking about making a full album, or was he thinking about a single?
Yeah.
And there was a long pause, and he said, and I quote, "You mean you think this shit is worth recording?" and then I realized at that time I was getting demos both for Twin Tone, but also because I was a DJ at the Longhorn.
Sure.
People would give me tapes to try to get a gig opening for someone else at the Longhorn. So I suddenly, in that instant, I realized that Paul was trying to get a gig at the Longhorn.
Oh, okay.
Hadn't thought about a record deal.
When were you brought into the fold to kind of understand where the band was at songwriting-wise?
Well, I think, I mean, we were pretty inseparable right from the get-go, so it became kind of a five-person team, and because I'd been around the block a time or two, and they had never really played even a proper music venue at that time, I think there was a trust. They looked to me for corroboration, like,
Sure.
Is this a good song? Do you like this one better than that one, kind of thing? I'd go to band practices, whatever. So I think from the get-go, I got pretty well entrenched.
Yeah.
And but we, they all hung out at the record store all the time,
Sure.
so I'd see them there. I lived right behind the record store, and often at night we were there. One or two of the band members. A lot of times just Westerberg and I would hang around.
Do you remember the first song from the collection of songs that ultimately ended up being Let It Be? Do you remember the first one that you heard?
I do, actually. I mean, I remember we had just finished the Hootenanny album.
Okay.
So I Will Dare, and at that time I hadn't heard the song. So fast forward to a couple of weeks later, they were doing a show at the place called Goofy's Upper Deck. About 5 or 6 songs into a set one night, I remember hearing this quick-strummed guitar intro, and, my antenna went up, and I thought, this is one I haven't heard before. I wonder, is this a cover that they worked up at a practice I wasn't at, or a brand new song I haven't heard about? And then suddenly, as it kicked in, and I just felt, how catchy it was.
Yeah.
I thought, the light bulb went off. He's written the song. We're going to be rich. I thought that was it. I thought this was a smash. So that was the first one. But they came out, we didn't get it on Hootenanny, obviously, and then we were just on the road all the time. And they were dropping new songs into the set all the time as well. So there was, I think, a half a dozen of the songs that ended up on Let It Be were done for probably a full year before the album was even out.
Wow. Well, then let's talk about the actual recording sessions for the record.
So it was a very homey atmosphere.
Cool.
You came out of the control room, and there was the kitchen. So a lot of times, discussions about what was going on, what was good, what wasn't good, were held in the kitchen.
Nice.
And it just really had a great vibe there. I mean, we loved it, and we'd done the first 2 records there, Sorry Ma and Stink.
Do you remember how long the recording sessions actually were?
With the band traveling so much and Paul still writing for the album, we'd go in and do 2 days here, week off, 3 days there.
Sure.
We'd do a run around the Midwest for a couple of weeks, come back and do another run of dates in the studio. The sessions were catch as catch can.
Okay.
Up until the Tim album, when we actually had a 6-week period to make a record.
Yes.
We'd never really had that that amount of time,
Sure.
financially or even just being off the road, because
Yeah.
they were working their butts off.
So Peter, this new deluxe edition of Let It Be that's available November 21st via Rhino. Let's talk about some of the contents of the deluxe edition itself. We've got the original album remastered by Justin Perkins.
Yeah, I mean, I think that one of the interesting things about this was we had a budget that allowed us to go back to the multi-track reels, and I took them to Round and Wound over there in Burbank, and they transferred them all to digital so that we could all listen to them. I think it sounds better than it's ever sounded. I think we would like to replace it on all the DSPs.
We talked about the second demo of Answering Machine and how it, similar to Androgynous, how it just had an additional kind of emotional pull attached to it.
Yeah, something different. It had a different feel to it.
Yeah.
A little more aggressive. It has the dead stop in it that we really liked. To hear the whole version of Unsatisfied without fading out is kind of cool, and hear the band kind of just quitting and falling apart at the end. I love that.
Including the alternate version of Androgynous.
Yeah. In my memory, there was only one vocal that was good enough to make the record, and that was the one that was on the record. And I didn't remember that there was another vocal. It had some character and charm and emotion that was unmissable, and that to me is kind of the highlight of the whole set, really. Audio-wise. But there's also, I think, really there's the song Street Girl, which hadn't come out before.
Yes.
Perfectly Lethal, which we did something a little different on this release than was on the CD.
Yeah. There's a live show that's a part of this deluxe set.
Tommy Stinson was doing a solo show in South Carolina, and a guy came up to him after the show and handed him a CDR of a recording of a show from Chicago many years ago, and just said, thought you might like to have a copy of this. It's an audience recording, so it's not super hi-fi, but I was knocked out by two things: the ferocity of the performance and the song selection. I mean, it's just a great 28 songs, and just a classic replacement set list from the time. And one of the things that really got my attention was at the beginning, Westerberg says, here's a new one, and they open with a song called Can't Hardly Wait, which not only didn't come out on Let It Be, it didn't come out on Tim.
No.
It didn't even come out until Pleased to Meet Me. So
yeah, correct.
A song that he obviously held near and dear and hadn't found the right version yet, so he had to hold it for a couple records.
So Peter, we have an important piece of Replacements lore that we kind of need to address right now about the tapes that were thrown into the river.
Well, it was after the band had moved to Sire and had new management, and Tommy told me that he distracted Roz Ferguson, our receptionist, while Paul and maybe Chris went into the tape storage room and grabbed a bunch of replacement tapes and ran out the door.
Wow.
And they literally did go to the Mississippi River and toss them off a bridge.
Wow.
The thing was, they didn't really look very carefully at what they were taking, and so they didn't get a lot of the masters. They got safety masters.
Sure.
I have most of the masters here in Burbank at my place. And the rest of them are stored in a warehouse in Minneapolis.
Yes.
And it's one of those things. I think about it, and I think here the replacements are trying to stick it to Twin Tone, and the fact was, Paul Stark and I thought it was a perfectly Replacements-esque thing to do. We laughed.
Yeah.
Like, they're tapes. I mean, it's kind of stupid to throw them in the river, but I guess, if that's the way they feel about it, and we had a good laugh about it as well.
That's right.
So,
That's right.
But anyway, I'm glad that we still had the masters for this, because we were able to go back and pull apart some of those multi-track songs and come up with some great alternate versions for bonus tracks.
We have fantastic liner notes as a part of this new deluxe edition from Elizabeth Nelson.
She said she'd love to write the notes, and I was just over the moon. And I think it's another one of the things that is makes this such a special package. I mean, her writing, the liner notes are just absolutely out of this world. And,
Yeah.
She frames the replacement's legacy, if we may use such a term, in a way that hasn't quite been said before, and really positions them as one of the great rock and roll bands of all time.
Let's talk about some of the actual packaging itself. I think let's maybe look to this great photo in the inner gatefold here.
This is a photograph that was actually taken in an elevator at Kaufman Union at the University of Minnesota, and there was, again, as the band was starting to play bigger venues, being invited to do Kaufman Union was really, really a big deal.
Okay.
And really felt like, wow, we're getting somewhere now.
Yeah. If you happen to order the record from Rhino, you get a little extra bonus treat, which is this record right here that Peter is holding.
Yeah, City Gardens in Trenton, New Jersey. Well, this is one that I'd had on a tape since February of 1984, and it's one of my most treasured tapes, actually. And I remember, again, when we were talking about this set and what kind of extra things to include, I thought, I wonder if we can... If this would get this, if we could slip this by the permissions board. So anyway, I think that's one of the highlights of this. And
yes, it is
such a cool package. These pictures were also taken at the University of Minnesota at a place called Wiley Hall.
Nice.
So anyway, I think those are beautiful pictures as well, taken by Greg Helgeson, who is the really. Not the first guy who took pictures of them, not the first person who took pictures of them, but the first one who seriously documented them.
Yeah, it's a beautiful package.
Yeah.
It's a beautiful package. This whole suite of releases is a beautiful, loving tribute to the band, this album, to bring it a bit personally, to Peter's contribution, to Twin Tone as a label. It really is a love letter to the band and this album and this time period.